Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Solve Network. My name is Shane Borza, along with my co-founder, Benjamin Goss, where it's our pleasure and privilege to have you here again for another episode. This week, we're really excited to have Tim Fitzpatrick on from Rialto Marketing. He is the founder of that company, and he has a background in many businesses. He's an entrepreneur who has a lot of experience in both marketing and business growth. And he has over 20 years in that industry. His real passion for developing and growing people's businesses. And he's going to be talking to us tonight about how we can stop wasting our time and our money on our marketing. And we can start to experience those high returns that we're all looking for. If you're interested in joining us live and you're hearing this afterwards, please contact me at shaneborza@gmail.com. We'd love to have you live on the call. This gives you an opportunity to speak to the guest expert directly and get your questions answered. But if you're listening to this afterwards, not to worry, the videos will go out and you can contact me for upcoming speakers as well. And if you would like to be a guest expert on a future show, you can ask us and apply to future openings. So with all that being said, Tim Fitzpatrick, thank you for being our guest expert, and take it away.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Shane. Ben, I really appreciate it. So give me a moment just to share my screen here. You guys see my screen now? Awesome, awesome. Cool. So as Shane touched on, what I'm going to talk about for the next 25, 30 minutes is how to stop wasting money on your marketing so you finally experience consistently high returns. And marketing does not have to be difficult. So that's my goal, to show you that it doesn't have to be difficult by the end of this presentation. A little bit about me, Cliff Note version. Okay, I'm not going to talk about myself for the next 20 minutes. But I think having a little context as to why Shane and Ben asked me to be here is helpful. So this is less than 30 seconds. So I was born here. I grew up here. As a kid, I loved this, and this. All of this was during. When it was time to go to college, I wanted to do this. So I went here, but I could not stand being in this every single day. So transferred here, majored in, after, became a partner in a wholesale distribution company selling this kind of stuff. We grew like this for over 10 years. It was all I could do to hold on until we did this. Along the way, checked an item off my bucket list. Shortly after that, we checked an item off our bucket list together and we went here. 2008, moved here to Starta. Here we are a year later. Shortly after that, we had our first little girl. 18 months later, had another little girl. Meanwhile, I was selling these for a living, which made me feel like this every day. So decided to shift gears, started a company offering two so they can, and that's why I'm here, okay? So enough about me. Now, what I always like to talk about in my presentations and touch on first and foremost is what the definition of marketing is, to make sure that we're on the same page. Okay, marketing is getting someone who has a need or a problem that you can solve to know, like, and trust you. Oops, that's it. Okay, it's no more complicated than that. We buy from people we know, like, and trust. The job of our marketing is to get in front of people so that they get to know us, like us, and trust us, so that when that need or problem we can solve becomes great enough, they raise their hand, they think of us first, and they come to us, and then we start a warm conversation. Okay, that's all marketing is. Now, it's also important to remember the purpose of marketing. Again, really simple. The purpose of marketing is to sell more things to more people, more often, for more money. That's it. Okay, so if you remember these 4 points, as you're starting to think about what you should be doing with your marketing, it needs to fall into one of these 4 categories, okay? So really, really simple, the definition and the purpose of marketing. Now, a lot of the people that we talk to are in this boat, right? They are battling information overload when it comes to marketing. So my question to you is, can you relate, right? There are so many different marketing channels. There are all kinds of different tactics within those marketing channels now. There's no shortage of gurus saying, you need to be on Clubhouse, you need to be on TikTok, you need to have a podcast. It makes most people completely overwhelmed. And when we're completely overwhelmed, it is really difficult to be effective. So why do most businesses waste time and money with marketing? They're battling information overload. They're feeling overwhelmed. And all they can think about doing is just throwing tactics up against a wall like spaghetti, hoping that something's going to stick. And inevitably, it doesn't. And they wonder why it's not working. I tried SEO, I tried Facebook, I tried content marketing, nothing's working. Well, it's really not the wrong tactic. Most often what it is, it's the right tactic at the wrong time. So how do we solve this problem? We focus on the fundamentals first. Okay. The fundamentals in any discipline do not change. I don't care what it is, whether we're talking about marketing, we're talking about hitting a baseball, hitting a golf ball, operationally running your business, the fundamentals don't change. I love this quote from Michael Jordan where he said, get the fundamentals down and the level of everything you do will rise. We have to have the fundamentals. They lay the foundation for you to build the rest of your marketing house from and be successful. But when you skip them, you're putting the cart before the horse. So marketing success is all about getting the fundamentals down first. If you skip them, you're going to waste time and you're going to waste money and you're going to have to come back to them. That's why the marketing fundamentals are so, so important. So what are they? I call them the marketing strategy trilogy. First is your target market. Who are you going to serve? How are you going to serve those people? Everything from a marketing standpoint starts with your target market. And then from there, once you understand who those people are you intend to attract, and you understand them better than they understand themselves as it relates to what you do, then you can move to step 2 and start to create messaging that's going to engage and attract those people. And the third part is having a plan. What's your plan to get that message in front of those people? That's what marketing is all about. And in my opinion, that's what the fundamentals of marketing are. And we're going to dig a little bit deeper into these. But first, I think it's important to understand like what happens if these elements of the marketing fundamentals are missing or they're misaligned. You've skipped some part, you're missing some part. What happens? So if your target market is missing or it's misaligned, you lack focus. You don't know exactly where to go to get in front of the people that you want to attract because you have no target at all. Your leads are lower quality. You're trying to attract everybody. And so all these various people come to you looking to do business, and they're not all a great fit. Not everybody is a great fit for us. It's a higher cost per lead because you're not converting nearly as many leads. Okay. And when you're not focused, your leads, your cost per lead becomes much, much higher. You have difficulty charging what you're worth. Okay. Because people don't understand, they don't see the value in what you do. And as I touched on this, you're trying to reach everyone. And when you try to reach everyone, inevitably you reach no one. When your messaging is not right, poor conversions, you confuse people. And guess what? Confused people don't buy. They leave. Okay. We fail to attract and engage prospects because our message just doesn't resonate. It's not grabbing their attention and their interest. Okay. We run the potential for being seen as a commodity because we don't know how to communicate the true value that we have to offer. And prospects just don't understand what we do. And again, when they don't understand, they're confused, they are not going to buy. And when your plan is missing or it's misaligned, you don't have clarity. You don't know what your priorities are, which is why most people start throwing tactics up against the wall like spaghetti, right? We tend to overcomplicate marketing when we don't have a plan because we're scattered, we're distracted, right? We get inconsistent and subpar results. We waste time, we waste money, we increase our stress, right? Why does our stress go through the roof? Our stress goes through the roof when we don't know what our priorities are and we lack clarity. And we get easily distracted. If we don't have a plan that keeps us disciplined, next week when some hot new guru says you need to be on TikTok, it's so easy to be a squirrel chasing a nut and go down that rabbit hole. But you're just going to end up spinning your wheels when you take that approach. Planning is key to being effective. And that's why these fundamentals, if even one part of them is missing, you're not firing on all cylinders. You got to have all three. So who's this methodology for? right? This thought process 4. If you want to treat the underlying cause of the marketing problems that you are currently encountering and not just the symptoms, this is for you. What most people do is they go, oh, I need to generate more leads. I must need SEO, or I need to do paid ads. That's treating the symptom. Oftentimes there is an underlying root cause that is one or more of the fundamentals that needs to be addressed first. That you're treating the cause when you look at the fundamentals. If you view marketing as an investment, which is really important, this is going to work well for you. A lot of people don't have the patience. They're too focused on the short term. I need to generate leads tomorrow. And so they feel like they don't have the time to invest in the fundamentals. Well, what they do is they may see some short-term results, but in the long term, it takes far more time for them to get to where they want to be. You got to think long-term. If you want to lay the foundation for consistent business growth, this is for you. And if you believe marketing shouldn't be difficult, but it currently is, this is for you. Okay. So let's dig into target market a little bit. What makes a great target market? These 4 criteria. 1, are there enough people in that target market that fit your criteria? If your market is too small, you are going to have a very hard time doing enough business to make money, right? So the market has to be large enough. Will your ideal clients within that target market really benefit from the product or service that you're offering? And will they actually see the need? There's plenty of people that can benefit from products that are out there, but a lot of people may not see the need. If they don't see the need, they're not going to buy. So we need to understand that. Can they afford the product or service, right? Even if the market's large enough, the clients in there see the benefit, right? And they see that need. But if they don't have the money to pay you for it, well, then that's not going to work either, right? And then the last one is, can you reach them? Can you easily reach them? Okay, if your target market is too difficult to reach, you may just end up spinning your wheels trying to get in front of them. So they need to be easy enough for us to get in front of, to get that message in front of, for this whole thing to work too. So all of these 4 things really need to be in alignment for a target market to be a good one for you. Okay, so please keep those in mind. Now, a little bit about defining your ideal clients, because a lot of people just have a hard time really honing in, right? They think, hey, everyone's when we first get in business, a lot of us fall into the trap of, hey, are you breathing? You have a heartbeat, you have money, and you're willing to pay me? Cool, you're a great client. And what we really end up finding is that's not the case. We all have worked with clients that were not ideal. They made our lives difficult. We may not have gotten great results for them. They just were not a good fit for us. Not everyone is going to be a great fit. The easiest place to start for an existing business, you have past customers, you have current clients, is to start by asking yourself these 3 questions. I call them the 3 power questions. 1 is, who do you enjoy working with? Why do you want to work with people that make your life difficult? Okay. 2, who are your most profitable customers? Okay. If we're going to stay in business, we need to work with profitable clients. And 3, who do you do your best work for? If you can work with people day in, day out, that you get great results for, they are going to stay with you. They're going to want to do more business, and they're going to want to refer you. Okay, so we start by asking ourselves these 3 questions, and we end up with a subgroup of current and past clients that you answered positively to all these questions. So everybody in that group you love working with, they're profitable, and you do great work for. This is the group that you start looking to find your ideal clients. So you dig deeper. In that group, you look at the demographics, the numbers. Are they a certain age range? Do they live in certain areas? Do they have certain jobs? Are they in specific industries? You look at the psychographics, which is getting into their head. What are their thoughts as it relates to what you do? What are their motivations, their dreams, their aspirations, their attitudes, the roadblocks that they have? And when you look at these 3 things, inevitably what happens is you start to see some commonalities, and some smaller groups start to pop up. And it's those smaller groups that are going to be your ideal clients. You should not have more than 1 to 3 ideal client types. It's okay to have more than 1, but if you go more than 3, I think you're going to start to dilute your focus. And I don't think you want to do that. Okay. So, and what we're doing here, when we look at these, the demographics, the psychographics. We really want to start to identify those problems that they have in common, the questions that they have as it relates to what we do, the roadblocks. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. And the results that they're looking for. That's how we really start to understand who our ideal clients are. So when you dig deeper, you get subgroups, and it's those subgroups that tend to be your ideal clients. Once you understand that, now you can start to look at, I know who I intend to work with. Now, how do I find them? Like, where are these people? You can't identify where they are until you first understand who they are. Okay. Once you understand exactly who they are, now you can identify where they're at. So for example, let's say I was intending to attract chiropractors. I start to create a list. Where are chiropractors online? What associations do they belong to? What blogs do they follow? What websites do they frequent? Are there magazines that they get? Are there podcasts they listen to? Are there YouTube channels they subscribe to? And you start to create a list. That list is now a list of potential places that you can be to get your message in front of the people you intend to attract. Starting to see how this works, starting to make sense. This is not overly complicated. It's work, okay? It's simple, but it's not easy, okay? But those are some tips to help you start honing in on your target market. Now, once I understand who I intend to attract, I know where they are. Now I can start working on crafting a message that is going to be clear and engaging. It's going to grab their attention and interest. So how do I do that? It's all about storytelling. Okay. That storytelling is how we create clarity with our message. But we first need, we need to first understand the two biggest mistakes businesses make when selling their products and services. One is there's no focus on what's going to help people survive and thrive. Okay, gain pleasure or avoid pain. Those are the two reasons why people make buying decisions. And when we don't focus our messaging on how we can help the customer solve those problems that they have, right, and get the results they want, they don't care. Our customers don't care about us. They care about what we can do for them. And too many businesses focus their messaging on themselves and how great they are. Our customers don't care. We need to focus on how we can help them survive and thrive. And two is we make it difficult for people to understand what we do. And when we confuse people, we lose them. Two biggest mistakes we make when selling products and services. Storytelling helps you avoid these two mistakes. That's why it's so important. And that's why we use it to craft your message. So let's look at the essential elements of every story. There's a main character. They have a problem. They meet a guide. The guide gives them a plan that calls them to action so they avoid failure and they reach success. Okay? In its most simple form, that's what it is. So let's look at a real world example. This is one of my favorite movies, the original Point Break. Don't fault me. Okay, but Keanu Reeves, main character, he is a green FBI agent. The problem, there's a band of bank robbers called the ex-presidents that are robbing banks in Southern California. The guide is his seasoned FBI agent partner, which is played by Gary Busey. And he gives Keanu Reeves a plan. He says, you know what, man, I think that the ex-presidents are surfers. You need to learn how to surf. You will befriend these people and you'll infiltrate this band of bank robbers, right? So the call to action is you need to learn how to surf so that we avoid failure, which is the ex-presidents get away, and we reach success, which is we capture them, okay? That's it. Think about one of your most favorite movies. I bet you can start plugging in these elements, every one of you. Okay, this is not overly difficult. We're so used to story. We love story. So how do we use this framework? Okay, I call it the brand playbook framework. This framework is originally from StoryBrand by Donald Miller. Okay, it just works and it makes sense to so many people. When it was introduced to me, it just clicked with me. And so what are we doing, right? We take this framework, these elements, and we use these elements to craft a story that is inviting your customer into a story where they are the hero and your business is the guide. Our customers are not looking for another hero, right? The hero in the story, remember the hero in the story's got a problem. They have no idea how to solve it. The guide has been in the hero's shoes. They know exactly what the hero needs to do to solve the problem. And the guide lays out the plan that they need to take to get from where they currently are to where they want to go. That is why we want to position you as the guide and not the hero. So all you're doing is inviting your customer into this story where they're the hero and you are the guide. Okay. And just trust me, it works. You're not recreating your messaging each and every time. You go back to your playbook. And every time you need to create a message, you go back to the playbook, you pull the elements you need, and it helps you be clear in your messaging. It helps you be consistent. And your messaging is engaging, and it attracts and gains interest for the people that you intend to attract. You're not recreating the wheel each and every time. When we're not consistent with our message, we lose people. They don't get it. You know, in marketing, we talk about the marketing rule of 7, where it takes a minimum of 7 impressions for your brand, your message to start sinking in. Well, if every time somebody sees you, they see a different message, it's going to take forever for anything to sink in, if it ever does. So that's where storytelling comes in and how you craft your marketing message. So let's talk about the plan. We're on the home stretch here. So this, I think, is the only marketing plan you're ever going to need. It's 6 steps. It is 90 days. It is super simple. Okay. Our marketing message, or excuse me, our marketing plan needs to be simple. Too many people create a 1-year marketing plan. There's too many pages. It's too complicated. Our businesses are evolving quickly, and our marketing plan needs to evolve with it. If you spent a bunch of money putting a year marketing plan together, you know, early last year before the pandemic hit in March, most of us would have burned it or put it on a shelf. It was a waste of time. Look at marketing in 90-day sprints. So I'm going to run through each one of these steps. Step 1, target market. Okay, I've already talked about it, but at a minimum, we need to have a paragraph of who each of our ideal clients happens to be. 1 paragraph minimum for each ideal client type you have. I want this in the plan because I want it to stay top of mind. Okay, if you don't look at it consistently, it's easy to forget. You need to keep this top of mind because you can't forget. This is where everything starts. What's your goal? Is step 2. It needs to be specific, measurable. It's going to be time bound because this is a 90-day plan. Okay, so I intend to have 5 new clients in the next 90 days. Specific, measurable. We know what we're working towards and what our goal is. We have to keep the end in mind. Step 3 is, what's my budget? What's my budget and the resources that I have? What we're doing in this step is identifying what we have to work with. You know, we all have a different budget, different resources to work with. And if we don't understand that in the beginning, we may put too much in our plan or not enough in our plan. And that's not serving you either way. So whether you have $500 a month or $5,000 or $50,000 a month, whatever that budget is, that's okay, but you need to know what it is. And then from a resources standpoint, resources, we need to look at time and we need to look at capability. Okay. Does Joe on your staff have 5 hours a week to spend on your marketing efforts? Cool. Well, if you want Joe to handle your social media and Joe has no idea what the heck LinkedIn even is, Joe is probably not a good fit, right? Or you need to level up Joe's skills so that he does have the capability. Okay. All we're doing, outlining what we have to work with in this step. Then step 4 is, what's our current marketing plan? We cannot create a plan to help us get to where we want to go until we get a baseline of where we're starting from. It's just like my GPS. My GPS cannot tell me how to get to the airport until I tell it where I'm starting from. That's all we're doing in this 4th step, is getting a baseline of where we're at. Now, a lot of people say to me, hey, Tim, I don't have a current marketing plan, and that's okay. A lot of people don't, you know, or if they do, it's very loosely based. It's in their head. It's not written down. Okay. Just write down, these are the main marketing channels as I see them. You have the fundamentals and your strategy in the middle. And then you've got these 7 around it: website, offline marketing, content, search engine optimization, your social media, email, and paid advertising. Almost any tactic you could put in one of these elements. Okay, so just write down, what have you put in place and what do you continue to do on a regular basis in any of these channels right now. That's going to give you a baseline. And by the way, don't fall into the trap and look at all these and go, oh my gosh, I'm only doing one of these. That's okay. You don't have to be in every single one of these to have a hugely successful business. Okay. I think you should be long-term. I think you should be in multiple areas because it's going to diversify your business, diversify your lead sources, but don't feel like you have to be everywhere first. Okay. That's putting the cart before the horse. Step 5, what's my next 90 days going to look like? This is where you're outlining your priorities. And depending on what you have to work with from step 3 is going to partially determine what you choose to take on here. What you also choose to take on is going to be based on step 4, which is where you're starting from. Okay. See how all these pieces are starting to come together. Now, a lot of people say to me, okay, this is cool. I understand this, Tim, but how do I even know what the next right step is? I know where I'm starting from. I know what kind of resources I have, but what should I focus on right now? That's where a tool that we call the Marketing Evolution Index Checklist is going to come in. And this will be in the free resources that we touch on later. But this sheet basically looks at different channels and says, hey, in phase 1, when you're just starting out, here's the elements that you really need to focus on getting in place, whether it's for your website or your content. This checklist gives you a framework that you can kind of run down to give you an idea of where you should be focusing. But I'm going to give you a couple things real quick. If your target market and your messaging are not dialed in, you have to start there. The next logical step is your website, because everything you do from a marketing standpoint drives people back to your website. I don't care if your business is 100% referral, you still have people going to your website to check you out. Once you have those in place, the lowest hanging fruit for any business is to look at what's already working. I guarantee you what's already working and generating leads in your business, you are probably not optimizing to the fullest. Optimize that, squeeze as much water out of that rock as you possibly can before you start jumping into other tactics. Why do you want to try something that you're not sure is going to work when you haven't fully optimized what's already working? Okay, so just a few quick tips on where you should start. Last step, metrics. The metrics are about what you're going to measure. If you don't measure what's happening, you have no idea what's working. That's why so many people go, well, we did that, but we have no idea. We don't know whether it's working or not. Well, they weren't tracking metrics. You need to track metrics. Now, as I mentioned early on, I was a math major, so I can dig into the weeds on this stuff. But there are so many metrics with marketing, you can just get lost and overwhelmed. There's tons of vanity metrics that don't mean anything. These 3 metrics are the easiest place to start. And once you nail these, then you can start to dig into others and add upon this. But until you have these in place, I don't think you have any business looking at any other metrics. Leads, okay? How many leads am I generating each month? Where are those leads coming from? What's the source? And then how many of the leads are converting to customers? Super simple. But if you can understand how many leads you're bringing in, where they're coming from tells you which activities that you are taking are actually working. And then if you know how many leads it takes to get a customer, that's super powerful. When you have these 3 metrics, all you need to do is add a couple other metrics, like what's the value of a customer? What's the cost per lead? And you can start to backfill your business and know exactly how many leads you need to generate to reach your goal, right? Because when let's say you have a revenue target of, whatever, well, I want to reach $10 million in revenue. Well, you can start to work the numbers backwards. And if you know what a customer is worth, you know how many customers you need to get to $10 million. And if you know how many customers, how many leads you need to get a customer, now you know exactly how many leads you need to get enough customers to get to your revenue goal. See how these are they're super simple, super important. Start here, and then you can get more sophisticated with your metrics. So what's next, right? You got to create your plan, right? And then follow it, execute it. You review your results every 90 days, and you look at what worked, what didn't. Not everything's going to work. and even stuff that works, you can continue to optimize. It's those little course corrections, those adjustments over time that make all the difference in the world. And all you do is you wash, rinse, and repeat every 90 days. So how to stop wasting money with your marketing? Focus on the fundamentals first. Target market, messaging, and then creating a plan to get that message in front of those people. So I got some free resources for you guys. All you got to do is go to this link. It's rialtomarketing.com/signature-presentation-freebies. All of the tools that we use to help clients implement the fundamentals, the messaging framework, the marketing plan template we use, the marketing evolution index checklist, some target market resources are all at that link. Just download them and you're good to go. Now, you may start to work on these and go, you know what? I need some outside eyes. I need some help. I'm hitting roadblocks here. If that's the case, schedule a free consultation. I would be happy to chat with you. All you have to do is click get a free consult on that page. If you go to our homepage at rialtomarketing.com, get a free consult is right at the top. I would be happy to chat with you. There's no pressure, but if you want to get outside eyes to make sure that you're doing it right, be happy to chat with you. And that's it. So we can dig into whatever questions you guys have. I am happy to answer. And that was a lot of information quickly, but I hope that was digestible and it makes sense why the fundamentals are so important.